Hello, welcome everybody. Today's evening is going to be something special, and I'm going to try something different today. So, sorry if you have expected something different, but I'm sure you're not seeing my video, but that's fine. This is intentional. Okay, so let's get started with the. Today's evening is going to be something special, and okay, so good evening, 8 o'clock, and welcome. I see Ajit online, I see Prema online. Whoever is here, please say hi, hello to everybody. The unity is where we have our strength and we can share what we know. So, today's topic is more about regretting career decisions, and let's get straight to what we have to do. Hi, hello, and welcome to today's session. Today, I am going to answer one particular question that somebody asked me, um, and I have received multiple questions related to that. And that topic for today is questions on regretting career decisions. So, a couple of questions that came to me were one was from the engineering student who said, after 4 years in my engineering, I realized that's not really what I wanted to do. I wasted 4 years and I don't know how to tell this to my parents. That's one. Another person gave me a similar question, but he was at a different stage of his career. So this one was, I got into the IT field expecting it to be very fancy. It was initially, but then I realized that it took away half my life with extra hours. And now, if I am out of job, I fear I don't know anything else. Has anybody been there where you think if you're out of job, you don't know what else to do, but you have to get down to some other job, same similar job, and you don't know what else to do. Okay. Another question was, I love what I do in my job, but I don't see a growth. Probably I got into a wrong field and don't know how to progress further. So I think these three questions basically are regretting career decisions that people made. One was, who has completed engineering but don't know which career to choose because she's confused. The other one, he said he's in the IT field, but that's not what he expected out of it. But somehow he got so fascinated with the IT job and just got into the IT job. But now he kind of feels it's not his cup of tea. Another one is in a job, happy, but she thinks there is no growth further, and probably she chose the wrong field and doesn't know how to progress further because she's anyway halfway through. Maybe how many years of experience does she have? She does not say, but it probably looks like maybe 5 to 6 years she has been doing the job, and then there's not much progress after that. All right. So let's see. I don't know what sort of job the last person was into, but let's see how we can answer these things. Now, at any point of time, we might have been in situations like this in our life, in our career, in our school days, in our college days, some decisions that we regret all the time that we could go back and change in time, right? But that does not happen really. So what we do is we tend to, pester ourselves with the decisions that we have taken and keep talking about it over and over again, but that's not going to be of any help. Okay. So we kind of we kind of are in some situations throughout our lives, right? Now there's no point regretting about it. Please don't regret at any stage of your life or any decisions that you have taken. What we need to understand is that the decisions that we took at some point of our life was based on the circumstance at that point of time, and it was so dependent on the consequences that we thought based on the emotional outcomes at that point of time, and not really thinking through. Okay, people might say you should have clarity, you should be able to push through, you should be able to do that, but I understand completely. As a once you complete your school, you really don't have that much of clarity, and you may not have that courage to speak back to your parents. Coming from a Indian family background, you really don't talk back to your parents much. You don't raise your voice, you just speak what you want, and that's how it is. So when you just listen to what they say, sometimes you end up going to picking careers that they found fancy, and they might have had ideas from their friends that it is the best for children. And most of the time, I see children picking engineering or medical, for that matter. Very few of them who do not get access to that in the first place, when they are going to when once they identify intent that they are not really good with um, these things, they may not be really capable, they're in the average range, they get into commerce. Some people go by choice, but that's a very few um, bunch. So people who get into the engineering field are not always the people who really wanted to do engineering. All right. Even people who get into the IIT or uh, BITS or any other big names for that matter, they think that that's what I have to do because everybody in my community is doing it and I have to do it. Some of them who complete IIT realize that engineering is not what they want to do, they quit it. I'm telling, even people who have gone all the way, putting their efforts, learning, studying so much, getting into very prestigious institutions, do complete and realize that's not really what they want to do. Okay, you would have taken this decision based on some compulsions or situations, but don't regret for that. Take your time, get to the journey, do something so that you're financially free and independent. You don't have to depend on your parents anymore, and then probably work on something in parallel so that you can do what you really want to do. Okay, once you get into one job, it is not the end of your life. You have a big journey to go through, and you can take any path that you want. Okay, so having said that, if you want to have your parents support at this point of time, you may want to go and speak to them that I have completed this, but probably I will take up a job to meet our financial situations. I guess it's if it is your financial situations that stopping you from going and speaking up to your parents, then maybe you have to convince them that way, that you will support them financially, but you still want to do what you want to do. Okay, but you have to take the decision at some point of time. There is no regret in the future. All right. The next one is the person who got into the IT field and expected something else, and then finds himself in a trap. So what he says basically is, I was in the IT field, so I understand what he's trying to say. He says initially, when you see people from the IT job who are coming out, you can see a lot of people purchasing their life. The quality of life is quite high. They are having a good purchase power, and they kind of meet whatever they want. They buy whatever they want. They live the lifestyle they want, and then that's more like an attraction for any graduate to get into. And basically, it's that. Okay, not many people get into IT for the passion of it. Many of them feel that's the future. Many of them feel that's a fancy and then get into it. But it's depends upon what you do. It could be a sucker. Okay. Why I say this is because after a point of time, you will be ending up spending like long hours in the job, and it kind of becomes a norm that you may have to stay back late at night to work, and then it becomes taken for granted that you are being paid for doing that. Okay, so um, you will not be able to say no and stuff like that. So there are a lot of situations because of which you'll start regretting that you took an IT job. Well, if you're in a highly demanding situation of in your company, then of course you will feel all those things. But after that, if you really wanted to get back to doing uh, outside, if you just wanted to quit and go outside and do something, you might suddenly realize that you don't know anything other than this. Have you been there? See, um, the primary business of this whole economy is buy and sell. So, sales and marketing. These two things are not being done or being exposed to a person who is in the IT. We are there doing our job. We don't know what happens on the back end where people go get sales for for the business, and then what happens else. Maybe you're in the pre-sales, you might be talking about your product, you're maybe talking about how your processes are in place, how you can be a consultant for them, whatever. But if you are not the person who is converting things into money, then there is a big problem there. Now, transition from an IT from an IT corporate into an entrepreneur was not really easy. The primary thing that I had to learn was sales and marketing. And unless you have these two primary skills, nothing is possible. So, if you really want to quit and do something, if you're in the IT, you have to learn what are the sales and marketing skills that you may want to learn. Okay, so once you do that, then you may be able to think about any other business that you want to step into. So that'll give you the room to do what thinking that you want to do. All right. Now the next one is from a lady. She says she loves her job, but she does not see growth, and she got into a wrong field and doesn't know how to progress further. Well, if you want to change the complete area of your job to another something else, maybe you were in the sales, you were doing something else, um, you were maybe a receptionist, okay, and then sorry, so you might be a receptionist, you might have done this, you might have done that. But now that you are here, you might think I want to get into a different field. Probably you want to get into the IT. Probably you're doing IT, you want to get into sales, or you might be wanting to get into finances. Okay. So even if your field is completely different, I'm not even talking about the vertical, I'm talking completely different. It is possible. Okay. And how it is possible? It is the way you project. So, knowing what you want, what you have been doing, and how you're able to project this to the company, that you can be a value add to the company, is all that matters. And once you get to know those knacks, you will be able to excel in what you are doing, and you will be hired for that. Well, in my courses, I do teach people how you can express yourself to such situations where you want to come back to work after a break, or you want to completely change your line and get to do something totally different. How to get into those interviews and nail it down. Some midlife crises and jobs challenges like this. So if you're interested, just hop on to the link that is below, and please check the link that I am sharing here, and Let's connect. So that brings us to the end of today's session, and I'm glad that we did it as a question and answer session today because many people have questions about wrong career decisions in different stages of their life. And I'm glad that I have picked up three questions in different stages: one in the beginning stage where they regret the career decision, in the middle stage where they just got into the job and probably they realized they don't know anything else if they quit. So that's one career decision they regret. And another one is to completely change your line and do something else that you love. Okay, that brings us to the end of the session. If you have any questions, please post below. I will be happy to answer them. And make sure that you click the link so that you get to know more about how you can do it and get coached. So until next Friday, this is Sophia Jogi signing off. Bye bye.